So welcome back everyone to Insights at DDLynn Design. So unfortunately, my phone battery is not holding up anymore. So it died when I hit right about here. So you should know now from me doing the front how to connect your wires, and you just need to get a very sharp tool or a safety pin or anything and basically get up underneath. And you're going to need to come back because when you're on the back side, remember this is all weaving wire, okay? So you need to come up onto your second wire, which will be the middle, and you need to lift up underneath it so that when you're connecting your wires on the back, like I did here, so you see where I made that little gap? Then you're able to slip your wire through. Here's a little hint. Before you slip your wire through, wrap around your core wire first so that you have your tension and hold on to your tail and then wrap it through where your little gap is right here. Okay, so let's finish the bell. So unfortunately, when I was talking at the end of the tutorial, I didn't realize that my camera was getting really dark and I couldn't see anything, that it was actually dying. So I had already started the bail. So what I'm going to show you here is your wires were coming out the back. Okay, so I brought my inside wire and I just flipped it up. And the reason why I did that is, remember what I said earlier. Sometimes we want to go in the opposite direction of where we really want to go to get the bend in the wire that we need. So now I'm going to push that wire out. I'm pushing it out, and you want to maintain your flat side. And as I did over here, I'm bringing my wire, and so I'm pushing it over. I'm just using my thumb. And then I'm going to swing it next to that beautiful little moonstone, and I'm going to bring it over the middle of the bail and back. So you should have something like that. So you want to make sure, depending on how you did your bail, meaning if you did it different than what I did in the tutorial, that you get a good swing on this. And I can see that I need to really anchor it over more because this side is really pushed over, and I had to do that to get up underneath this front wire. So I'm going to really anchor that over more, just using my thumb to get the shape that I want. And that's looking pretty good. And I'll make my adjustments as I go. So now I'm going to bring my second bail wire that's hanging out down here, and I'm just going to follow. I'm swinging around. Now remember, we're using 21 gauge, so this is a very soft wire, so you should be able to manipulate it. Actually, you guys, I think I did that wrong. I did. It was my outside wire I wanted to come in. So anyways, we're just going to make a correction. My inside wire should be on the outside. So this is my outside wire, and I'm just swinging that around, and I'm making sure that I'm maintaining my flat side. So I'm going to have to swing this guy in a little bit more. So I'm going to swing them over so I can get the shape that I want. There we go. So, like I said, sometimes we need to go in the opposite direction to create the shape that we want. So I'm going to swing this one over a little bit and then curve it out. So how are we doing here? I don't like that. So I need to swing in a little bit more. So I'm going to pick up this outside wire first. It's in my way so that I can get the shape that I want. Let's straighten that one out. I may have to change this design. It may not work to what I was thinking. You always want to turn your work around to see what's making it look off center is this loop here, but it really isn't. So I'm going to bring these two wires together in the middle. And I need to curve these off just a little bit more. So let's go in the opposite direction so I can get the curve on it. And it's really great that all these corrections are being made because it really helps us, I think, to really, give us tips and techniques to, make corrections as we're going. That's a whole lot better. I'm liking that better. So I'm just making these little corrections. Then I'm going to separate out my outside wires. Still more of a bend on that one. Okay, and I'm going to bring up these two wires because I'm going to weave them. So I'm just going to grab my 28 gauge. You could use half round too. And I'm just going to weave them together. And any pattern that you want. So I did 3 rotations. I'm going to slide my wire down right above the moonstone bead that I put there as an accent stone. And if you have to, move these out of your way. And I'm just going to do a 3-3. So I'm just doing 3 more complete rotations. Then I'm going to come up underneath and do, I think, 3 and stop there. Or do I want to do one more? I'm going to do one more. And you can do your bell any way you want. I just really felt bad that you couldn't see me finish off this piece. So for those of you that want to see the finished product, well, you'll see it in the snapshot, but I just snapped my wire there. So I'm going to bring these 2 wires here on the side. Just going to straighten this one out. I see that it's turning. I want to maintain my flat side. And so now I'm going to really curve these out. I think I'm going to bring them over first so I can get even a better control over my wire. I want to curve them, but I want to come back a little bit. And then I want to curve them out. Okay, so now I'm going to come back. I'm not working with my center wires yet. I'm working with my outside wires. Now for beginners, if you have to, you might want to mark your wire so that you equally bend them at the same place. So I'll show you what I mean. So I want to bend them both right about there. So I'm going to take my pliers and I'm going to swing this out, holding the front down firmly, right at that bend, holding the front down. Now, because this is such a soft wire, you can do a lot of this with your fingers. Should have something like that. Oh, let me get rid of my, there we go, my wire there. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to bend this wire in. We're taking it to the inside of the bail, and I'm holding the top of it as I'm swinging it in, holding it down firmly with, you see my finger right here? I'm going to cut that just a little tiny bit. Doesn't need to be that long. Now before I crimp it off, I'm going to do my other side. So I'm going to hold that down firmly. I'm going to make sure I'm working on my flat side, and I'm pre-shaping that wire to swing it in. So let me see how they're lining up. And this is how we're going, these are little techniques of how you're going to hide your wire. Now this one is swinging around differently, and this is why I don't close off yet, so that I can match everything up. That's why you want to always turn. So here's another tip. You always want to turn your work around to see what you're doing, so you can make your adjustments as you're going, because if you lock everything in, you may not be able to get out of it. So I'm going to get a different plier, something that has more girth, a stronger jaw. That way I don't have to use a lot of pressure, and I'm just very gently pushing that in, making sure everything's lining up. And the same thing here, I'm just going to very gently push that in. I'll be crimping that down more. Just want to make sure everything's staying in line. That's looking great. Now I'm going to cinch them in even more. When you're using a wider jaw, stronger, more girthy plier, you don't have to use as much pressure, and you have a lot more control over your wire. Oh, I wanted to make sure that you guys saw this. So I used 4 inches of 21 gauge square, 4 pieces of 21 gauge square at 8 inches long for a 1-inch stone or sea glass, and 30 gauge weaving wire. So anyway, sorry about that. I meant to tell you about that in the beginning. So now we're almost done. So we have these 2 wires back here, and there's really a ton of things we can do. We can go over again and create more symmetry. We can work around the back. It's really up to you what you want to do. We can cut them off and tuck them in, but I just want to straighten them out. I'm going to bring them over the center. And do I want to bring them around the back? Yeah. So I'm going to bring them around the back. I'm doing the same thing as I did before, and then I'm going to swing one out, and I'm keeping my flat side up, and I'm going to swing my other one out. I want to make sure that they're lining up, and I want to bend right here at this edge. So you always want to look at your work again from both sides. So I'm just going to go ahead, because it's already in position, I'm just going to use my fingers to shape that wire and start telling it where I want it to go. Now I know that's too long, so I'm going to give her a snip. So what you need when you're tucking in your bail, depending on how big your bail is, about 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to hold firmly, and again, here's another tip. I'm going to grab the tip of that wire, and I'm going to pre-shape it. So I'm telling the wire where I want it to go. Do the same thing on the other side. I always do a little bit of each, a little bit of each side, so I can maintain my symmetry. So I'm looking at the back. This one needs to be pitched down. There we go, much better. So now I'm just going to get my thicker jaw. These are by Xuron, and they are thicker and wider flat nose, and they're, if you're curious, The Xuron code on them is 485. I can't see underneath that. I think it says F as in Frank M. So that's what those are. And all I'm going to do is just cinch. And I'm pushing that wire up and in the direction to the up towards the top of the bale. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And these are just fabulous for doing what you want them to do. So I'm cinching it off. And there we have this beautiful double-sided, gorgeous piece of sea glass from my lovely new friend Dina from Hawaii, who beachcombed this glass herself. Isn't that beautiful, you guys? So you could really wear either side. Remember that lip on the glass there? So here's another tip. I tucked my wire down in on that lip. It's literally flipping up like a wave. You could wear it either direction. You could put another bead right here, which I might do later. But I hope you enjoyed that, everyone. Please give me your feedback. A thumbs up takes 1 second if you like it. I think we're all getting a little spoiled in this art because there are so many people now doing tutorials, and we're kind of just getting used to it. And I just hope that you all acknowledge the most wonderful artists out there that are giving their time freely and just wanting to share with you and pay it forward. So I wish for all of you all that you wish for yourselves. May you have a wonderful, magical wire wrap day. Bye for now.